welcome back to Greenlight Cinema. I'm happy to have you guys back. I'm Brandon. I'm apparently losing my voice a little bit. These Fargo reviews, I don't know what they do to me. But thank you guys for tuning back in. And let's talk about this episode.
Fargo, the final episode.
What's she doing here?
Oh, jeez, my heart.
We had a deal.
Hasn't there been enough killing?
You killed your father, so you can wear the crown.
Wow. So, this episode had like a lot of interesting things happening in it, like already from the beginning. Like we see, from the last episode, we seen that Ethelrita had given Loy Donatello Fada's ring and the newspaper article. Well, he met up with Ebel in the park. They're having some type of meeting. While that's going on, we also see like the Smutneys and everything's being like removed from their house. I guess that everything worked, and everything's going pretty well. But then we see like Josto and gosh, poor Josto. Oh, I feel for him. I mean, he is so raw and angry, and I mean, he's just now connected with his brother, and he is just on a killing spree. He's grabbed up Dr. Harvard, but before that, off camera, we don't even see this. He got his father-in-law, and he's like killed both of these guys in his back seat. He's on a dark path already. And then the car explodes. He like lights it on gasoline and just explodes. It looks awesome. The cinematography for these last episodes, or for this whole season, has been incredible. But these last episodes have really popped out because you could tell, I think this was filmed like right after, like around September or something like that, because it's just this beautiful like fall colors just pop and just wow. Blew me away. So, but there's also a time jump with this, which I kind of predicted before in some of my last reviews, because it's unlike Fargo if they don't do a little bit of a time jump, like a year, sometimes a few. And this episode took place a year later in 1951. Well, I don't know if I might be jumping around a little bit. I apologize about that, because this episode was a little bit all over the place. It was like filling in all the gaps so that we're not left clueless, and I have an explanation for that, because there has been some episodes, well, let's just say last season, for instance, it left us a little in the dark.
Goodbye.
And, Varga just faded away in the dark. It was just kind of left to your own interpretation. This one was pretty much right on the nose. Like, this is what we're going for. This is what the season's about. But it's also so much more. But, yeah. So, the Smutneys get back to their house. We see, handing the keys back to the Smutney residence. After, discovering this crazy information with this nurse and everything. And we also see Orietta in jail, and she's like made bail. And off camera, we don't really know who, but I'm sure it's the Fadas. And I think they showed like the park, like real quick, like one more time. And I was worried about this. I've been meaning to bring this up, and I'm not trying to say he's an unimportant character, but I was just wondering if he was going to have anything, like if we've seen him in later seasons. Apparently not, though. So Loy, he drops off. He does the right thing. It's like Loy's done like a whole huge character arc from where we first seen him. He reminds me of Emmett Stussy so much in this season. It's insane. But he gave back Zero. I was like, wow, that's so kind. And he didn't harm him or anything. Zero looks good. He looked happy. So cut to now we're like at like a diner, and we see Happy kind of joking around, laughing with some of his friends. I guess they're still in Kansas City. We see like a gun coming up behind Loy, but nothing to worry about here, because good old Opal, he's right there and kills Happy, chokes him out. And I believe Lloyd like planned all this or orchestrated all this. It was really great. It was like fast how it all happened. And then like we see the sky with flowers, and it was like Terminator 2. I referenced Terminator 2 a lot on Greenlight Cinema. I apologize for that right up front. That movie is like a hallmark, I believe, other than the Star Wars crap right here. Whoa, I don't mean to mess up the snowman. I had to tear up too many things in these reviews. Cut to So Happy, we see him, he's murdered, and also Leon's murdered too. But like I said, Opal kills him and takes care of him. And then we see like a weird scene like Joe Bullo, he's waking up Josto and he's like, boss, we found the guy, we killed, we got him, we got the boss, or we got him. And, the way he says it, I'm not saying it verbatim exactly how he said it, of course, but the way he phrases it, it makes it sound like he's got Lloyd there. It's like, whoa, what happened? No, it's not that at all. In fact, it's Orietta, and I actually wrote notes to this because I was so confused by this. So we have, the tables have turned. And what I mean by this is, Ebel is convinced by Orietta. She actually believed that Josto had wanted his dad dead. Like, I couldn't wrap my mind around that. Like, I thought she was just trying to throw the blame on him, but she is a character that really has nothing to lose at this point. So, she honestly believed in her heart of hearts that she was doing the right thing by taking care of him, and she kind of like, I feel like words got twisted a little bit, because, it's like, Ebel even brings up like, he's like, so you kill your father, to get on the throne, and then not only that, you're so selfish and greedy that you're so scared to lose your title that you get your brother killed. And it's like, whoa, dude, like, what is going on? Ebel's fed up, but he's like so exhausted and tired with the old way, is what he refers to it as. He's like, no more fathers, sons, brothers, uncles. He's like, this isn't that type of way. He's like, there's a new way, and that's how we're doing it. And Josto's like, well, wait till New York finds out about this. They grab up Josto, and they grab up the nurse. And he was like, New York's fine with this. I'm saying orchestrate a lot in this episode, and the reason why is it feels like a lot of characters tried to carefully orchestrate and execute their own little plans, and it didn't go as well. But Ebel, I guess, as old and as smart as he is, I'm getting into spoilers though. We're not there yet. We're not there yet, and I apologize. But cut to, we see Orietta and Josto, and they're in the back seat, and Joe Bullo, he's riding shotgun. He's kind of got his like gun, like, watching them and everything. I mean, who don't blame him? Orietta's insane. And her and Josto are kind of having like this banter back and forth, and it's crazy. I'm not sure what he like said, but like interrupt her to like her almost beating him to death, like right there in the car. So it's almost like, well, almost no need for the gun with her crazy self there. But they get to their spot, and there's already a grave dug. But I gotta say, these were like the most beautiful shots of like a wheat field and grass, and I was just like, wow. I'm like, what a pretty place for them to die. But yeah, so Joe being a nice guy, I guess, not really. I honest to goodness, it justifies him getting his head chopped off. Spoilers if no one's seen season 2. It's justified to see that happened to him. Like, at first I was like, oh, I feel bad for this guy. No, I'm really glad that I'm seeing the guy's head cut off. Well, we didn't actually see it, but we seen his head. It was severed. Yeah, in season 2. Okay, going back to this episode, Joe says, anyone have any last request? Orietta's is, can I see him get shoot first? He's like, okay. Josto's trying to talk his way out of it, and he turns his head, boom, he gets shot. And then Orietta sees the roach, like his reflection in their car door. And then like all of a sudden, boom, she gets shot. Then we see the shot of them just like laying in the grass, dead, bleeding together. And it's like, oh man, I had like a bunch of theories about how like their end would go, but not like I didn't think it would go like that. I thought they were going to escape to Minnesota or something. I don't know. I'm glad this didn't tie in too much. Okay, I'm getting into spoilers. Well, cut to now we have like a way more happier scene. It's like really good to act because we're all left in suspense about this. So we see Lloyd, the whole Cannon family, driving like a nice normal family. He don't even look like a gangster anymore. He's like just dressed like normal, 50s dad. Like how cool. So yeah, but they're driving home, but there looks like there has been a break-in. And right away, I already had a suspicion. We see his shoes, we see his red hat, and all of a sudden, we see Satchel laying on the bed. And who's he have with him? Rabbit. It was like, oh man, even Rabbit made it. I was so happy to see that. Like, I don't know, that dog brings me so much joy. So yeah, and Lloyd, he is so happy and so excited. And, his wife comes in the house. She looks like she's like a little scared and reluctant. I mean, who wouldn't be? They live in Kansas City in the 50s. It looks very crazy. But she sees Sacho coming down the stairs, and then they embrace him in a big hug, and it's such a great ending of a scene, because this whole time like we're left wondering like are they ever going to get to know? I really didn't know, like are they ever going to get to know that he's still alive? And so knock off, I guess, Barbara Milligan and that like myth of a story. Now we see Loy and Evelyn are talking, and apparently they made a different agreement to what Loy was apparently thought that he was getting, because I can tell by the papers like it was like really fast or something, but looked like some things got flipped around on Loy. And Evel just turns into this evil, mean guy. Like, this whole time, he seemed like the nice, level-headed guy. I mean, hey, he was friends with Dr. Senator, all that. Chill. Now he's the big boss, and he's like, this is what happens, Loy. Either you do this, or you die. And it's like, oh. So it's like, and Loy gets upset, and he's like, I wouldn't do that if I was you, Loy. And it's like, all this way climbing to the top, and just to get to nowhere, like Josto was trying to tell Joe Bullo that Joe Bullo eventually sees, but just yeah. And that's the interesting thing. This scene particularly reminded me of season 2, how it ended with Mike Milligan, where he's like, all right, I conquered the Gerhardts. I'm going to be the king. I'm going to, move up and, be the big mob boss. And they're like, no, that's not how it works. We're doing, like, computer stuff now and, like, and trying to do different things. And, like, Mike had this, like, little tiny office, and he thinks he's just going to be this big king in this castle. So it's kind of, like, sad to see, like, it's like Satchel, Mike Milligan, whatever you'd like to call him. It's sad to see that he's just like never been able to quite ever make it. Like his daddy, Lloyd Cannon, when the first season, I believe we seen him at his entire peak, and it just digressed from there. Cut to Lloyd. He arrives home. Doesn't look like he's very happy with the arrangement they have. Wasn't there really arrangement? It looks like he's just screwed over and just back to where he ever first started from in the beginning of, It's sad because we seen him be, like really high up, but like look what it costed him though. But it's interesting, this character, he had a really big arc of a development. We seen him, just change a little bit, and the big change is we have cynical businessman now turned into sweet, caring, charismatic father that's content with, even the worst deal. And it's not even the worst deal to him, because the best part of it is he gets to come home. And again, he's dressed just like normal dad, just like a normal 50s dad. And he looks in the window and he's staring at his children, and he looks so happy and blessed. And it's such a sweet scene. And then we get this scene where Zumar Roulette just stabs him right in the back. And it's like, oh my gosh. And I think it catches Satchel's eye because he's reading a book. And it looked like the book he's reading might be a reference to something. I'm not really sure. So Satchel runs out, sees who a woman is, and Zumar Roulette, that's her signature, like, thing. I'm not sure how she does it. She's been doing it from, like, the beginning of the season, from where we've seen her. And she's like, that was for Swanee. And drops the knife of blood. And so now I guess that proves my theory or thought that I had about that episode. So I guess, but I thought Lloyd didn't want nothing to happen to him. So I think there was a big miscommunication there, because I'm pretty sure that he wanted Zumar Roulette and Swanee out of the, Kansas City, and gave him tickets and everything. And I'm pretty sure Otis, all on his free will, just was like, these 3 people are in my way, Duffy, Swanee, and Zumar Roulette, so let me murder them. Or attempt to murder her. And she escapes. It reminded me of Fargo season 3, when Emmett finally gets everything right. He wasn't even too bad of a character to start with. He was nothing like Lloyd. Like, Lloyd was an intense business mob man, which, I guess it entails a lot of, hard ways about you. Satchel runs out and sees Lloyd. First he's seen Zumar Roulette. She goes off. He looks at Lloyd, and Lloyd's dying over in the corner, just cut up and bloody. And then Satchel runs over to him, and he grabs Satchel's face one last time and just embraces him. And it's sad, and it's like all of a sudden then we hear, and then that's my book report of all of American crime crime history, and from Ethelreda, because this is all narrated by her throughout this season, and she's just like reading it to her parents, and they're just like, oh, good job, we didn't even see Andrew Bird really do or say much, or her mom in this, I don't think. But yeah, and then, she's like in a room, just kind of like, I'm not sure what this room was, but it had the French painting behind it. The one that was in the last episode that she talked about, that's a reference to something. French paintings in the background, and she's even reading the history report there, and then camera fades out again. And then it goes into another thing. It's wait a few more seconds, and they show it. And I mean, someone they caught me there that was a good, you predicted a good thing there. I was like, yeah, I just seen it coming. They show, and I knew it had to be. I don't know how I know this. New footage of Mike Milligan and Gail, because Wayne got murdered. Gail and Mike Milligan driving that car, and it's just, they're going down the road, and he's just kind of loading his gun and just kind of looking, and just, it's the same scene. But I know that this had to be shot in 2020 or 2019. I don't know. I don't know how I know this. Look, I'm just telling you, this was new footage, and no one aged a bit. It looked amazing, and it looked great. So it was very necessary for this season to have episode 11. This definitely felt like a nice little tying the bow to the end of this story, because this season almost worked as its own separate story, which they all are, but narratively it was an interesting story. It was a lot more interesting than season 3. I'm not saying season 3 is terrible. I'm not one of those people. It's its own thing, and I appreciate it. This thing was its own thing, but it had beauty and just a lot of the things that just This was like a love letter to season 2, it felt like. It's really good. All of Fargo is really good. I just love this season overall. Love season 2. Season 2 is still my favorite. But, and Noah Hawley, or Haley, if I've been saying your name wrong this whole time, I apologize. Whichever one it is. I just want to tell you, you are a brilliant man. Dana Gonzalez, you are brilliant. The whole cast, the crew, Jesse Buckley, oh my gosh, like just, this whole cast was amazing. And they were great. I loved it. Can't talk enough more good things about this season. But if you guys hadn't got a chance yet, please check out this season. I believe all of it is available now to check out on Hulu, and I'm sure it's going to be, repeats on FX. Thank you guys for watching this season with me. It is so cool that I've had you guys watching this with me and reading these comments, and I'm so intrigued, and I can't wait for the next big thing. So, if you guys hadn't already, I hope you guys will please like and subscribe to my channel. We'll get to see more reviews. We're going to be doing more TV shows, more movies. I'm excited to see you guys again. Thank you so much. Alright guys, bye.